July 17th, 1943, 5:10 a.m. Calcutta, British India. The transport ship hasn't fully docked yet, but the smell reaches them first. Rot, smoke, human decay. Private First Class Daniel Harris grips the railing as the morning fog lifts slowly over the Hooghly River. He expected heat, maybe crowds, maybe chaos. Not this, not the silence. On the dock below, hundreds of figures stand motionless, not welcoming, not protesting, just watching. Their bodies are thin, unnaturally thin, bones pressing against skin like shadows trying to escape. A child doesn't move as a truck rattles past him. He doesn't even blink. Jesus, Harris mutters. Behind him, Sergeant Cole squints through the haze. Don't stare, we're not tourists. But it's impossible not to. As the gangplank drops, the boots of the U.S. Army hit Indian soil for the first time, not with pride, not with urgency, but with hesitation. They were told this was a supply front, a logistics hub, a stepping stone to push back against the Japanese advance through Burma. They were not told about this. A skeletal man collapses 10 feet from where they stand. No one reacts. Not even the soldiers at first, because for a moment, their brains refuse to accept what their eyes are seeing. Then, suddenly movement. A British officer barks sharply. "Keep moving, no stopping." 2 Indian laborers drag the collapsed man out of the path like debris. His limbs don't resist. His head rolls unnaturally. Dead, alive, July 22nd, 1943, 14:40 p.m. Calcutta outskirts. The flies arrive before the trucks stop moving. They cling to everything. Eyes, mouths, wounds, food tins. Private Harris swats at them instinctively, but they come back faster than his hands can move. "Don't waste energy," Sergeant Cole mutters. "You won't win that fight." The convoy halts near a distribution point, or at least, that's what the map calls it. But there is no food being distributed. Only bodies. Living ones, barely. And those who won't be for much longer. Captain Ellison steps out, boots crunching on something that isn't quite dirt. He looks down. Ash, mixed with something darker. He doesn't ask. A line stretches ahead, if it can still be called a line. Hundreds of civilians stand or sit or lie in a loose formation, waiting for supplies that haven't arrived. Some don't even lift their heads as the soldiers pass. Others stare, not with hope, with calculation, as if measuring how much life remains inside these well-fed strangers. "Sir, you need to see this." Lieutenant James Walker stands near a makeshift medical tent canvas sagging, ropes barely holding. His face is pale despite the heat. Inside, the air is thick, not just with humidity, with the smell of sickness. A U.S. Army medic kneels beside a young boy. The child's ribs are visible with every shallow breath. His stomach is swollen, unnaturally distended. Kwashiorkor. The medic doesn't say the word. He just works, or tries to. July 29th, 1943, 3:20 a.m. Military Rail Yard, Calcutta. The darkness is thick, broken only by scattered lantern light and the dull glow of cigarettes. You can hear it before you see it. Grain shifting inside wooden crates. A low, constant rustle, like something alive. Private Harris crouches behind a stack of cargo, sweat dripping down his neck despite the hour. Beside him, Sergeant Cole checks his watch. "This is a bad idea," Cole whispers. Harris doesn't respond, because he already knows. Across the yard, Indian laborers load crate after crate into waiting rail cars. Their movements are slow, mechanical. No wasted energy, no wasted emotion. A British logistics officer stands nearby, clipboard in hand, overseeing everything with detached precision. Shipment 47, B. Priority clearance. The words echo in Harris's mind. Priority. He glances at the crates again. Stamped markings. Rice export. Sir gave the order? Cole asks quietly. Harris shakes his head. No, he says, a beat. He didn't. This wasn't official. Not exactly. No written command. No direct authorization. Just a conversation, a look, a silence that said more than words ever could. Captain Ellison never told them to do this. But he didn't stop them either. The first crate breaks open easier than expected. The wood splinters softly under pressure. Inside rice, clean, white, abundant. More food than Harris has seen since arriving. For a moment, no one moves. Because it feels unreal. August 3rd, 1943, 11:25 a.m. Eastern Command Headquarters, Calcutta. The fan spins lazily overhead. It does nothing. The air is thick, unmoving like the silence in the room. Captain Robert Ellison stands at attention, sweat tracing a line down his temple, uniform pressed, but damp beneath the collar. Across from him, a British colonel studies a document with slow, deliberate care. Every second stretches. Every breath feels too loud. Finally, you've filed 3 separate transport discrepancies in the past week, the colonel says, without looking up. Ellison doesn't flinch. Yes, sir. The colonel flips a page. Unaccounted supply loss. Grain shipments. Rail yard 17. A pause. Then his eyes lift. Sharp. You want to explain that, Captain? Outside, the world continues as if nothing is happening. Trucks move, soldiers march, orders are followed. But inside this room, something is shifting. Ellison chooses his words carefully. Logistical inefficiencies, sir. Local handling errors. The colonel leans back slightly. Handling errors don't feed starving civilians, Captain. The words land like a shot. Clean. Precise. No room for denial. Ellison says nothing, because there's nothing left to say. The colonel folds his hands. You're an American officer, operating under British command structure in this theater. He continues. That comes with expectations. Another pause. Heavy ones. Ellison meets his gaze. Yes, sir. The colonel studies him for a long... August 12th, 1943, 2:05 a.m. Rail yard perimeter, Calcutta. The rain starts without warning. Heavy, sudden, relentless. Within seconds, the dry dust turns into thick mud, swallowing boots, slowing movement, muffling sound. Lantern flames flicker violently in the wind. Tonight should have been perfect. Cover, chaos, opportunity. Instead, it feels like a trap. Harris wipes rain from his eyes, crouched low behind a cargo stack. Water drips from his helmet, down his rifle, into his hands. Everything is slick, unstable, too exposed. Cole mutters beside him. We shouldn't be here. But they are. Because once you cross a line like this, you don't uncross it. Across the yard, Ellison watches from the shadows, coat soaked through, face unreadable. He counts movements, guards, patterns, interruptions. Everything matters now. Because tonight, there are more civilians waiting than ever before. They're barely visible through the rain, but they're there. Dozens, maybe more. Silent shapes along the outer fence. Waiting. Ellison didn't plan that. Word has spread too far, too fast. What started as survival is becoming something else. Something bigger. Something harder to control. A whistle cuts through the storm. Sharp. Wrong. Harris freezes. That's not ours, he whispers. Lights flare suddenly across the yard. Bright, blinding. Searchlights. Move! Cole shouts. Everything erupts at once. Guards shouting, boots splashing through mud, rifles raised. The careful silence of the past. August 28th, 1943, 6:10 a.m. Northern Bengal, British India. The sun rises slowly over the fields. Too slowly, because there's almost nothing left growing in them. The land stretches out in dull shades of brown and gray, cracked earth where rice should be. A dry wind moves across it, carrying dust instead of life. Captain Ellison stands at the edge of one such field, boots sinking slightly into the brittle soil. You can almost feel it, the emptiness, not just of food, but of hope. Behind him, a convoy idles quietly. Not marked, not logged, not official. Crates are unloaded carefully, not at a rail yard, not under watchtowers, but here, in the open, where the system doesn't reach as easily. Villagers gather slowly, cautiously. They've learned not to trust sudden appearances. Not anymore. Harris steps down from the truck, lifting a sack of rice over his shoulder. His uniform is worn now, dirt-stained, faded. He looks different, less like a soldier, more like something else. A child approaches first, barefoot, thin, but standing. Harris kneels, opens the sack, lets the grains fall into a woven basket. The sound soft, endless. This time no one rushes, no chaos, just quiet distribution, measured, organized. Ellison watches it all unfold. Every movement intentional, every risk calculated. They built this quietly, piece by piece. Routes outside official channels, local contacts, timing patterns, diversions, not random anymore, not desperate, purposeful. Walker steps beside